Hello, my name's Verity. Welcome back to our beginner series. So firstly, just wanting to go through some of the basics and alternatives for a couple of the common stretches. Stretching in general is obviously incorporated in lots of our yoga practices, and often we're just holding that for a few breaths, maybe a minute. When we are practicing yin yoga tends to be at least 3 to 5 minutes for different shapes. And we maybe don't want to get to our maximum stretch straight away because we're going to be there for a while. To go beyond just stretching the muscle, and quite a lot of the time we are actually stressing the fascia. Good stress though. So the fascia is all that connective tissue that's around our organs, between our joints, all through our body. It tends to give us a longer lasting, sustained sensation. So if we are really tight and compressed in the front of our chest, if we hold a longer amount of time in our yin yoga stretch to open that space, we might actually feel more open for a longer amount of time after the practice. The other practice is restorative yoga, and we'll do one restorative yoga pose at the end. We're just going to do a mini taster today of about 5 minutes, but usually you would hold a restorative yoga pose for about 10 minutes plus. And the idea there is not to stretch. So it's actually to go really gentle, and we use bolsters and blankets and blocks to try to get really comfy. So I would suggest, if you need to pause the video, grab some props. If you haven't got these long bolsters, you might grab a couple of long pillows from your bed. Higher ones are great, like higher, firmer pillows if you can. Grab a thick blanket if you could, and if you haven't got blocks, maybe a couple of cushions will be good. So firstly, we're going to come into a glute stretch. I'm going to show you the more accessible version first, and you might want to stay there if you find that the second version is way too much. So you lay back, cross your right ankle over your left knee. If it's an active yoga practice, we will flex that right foot. If it's a yin yoga, we'll generally relax it. The right ankle is across the knee. If you've got your foot over the knee, just see if possible to slide further over. And then your right knee is just gently drawing away from you. So you can stay just like that. That might be enough. If you want a little more, you can use something, say like a block or a bolster, just to pop under the left foot. So that can bring it up just a little bit stronger. If you don't feel too much yet around this right glute, you lift up your left leg and thread your hands between the left leg or behind the left leg. You can either hold the thigh, or you could hold the front of the knee if you have a bit more mobility today. You may like to try to interlace your fingers because it feels a little bit more comfy. 9 times out of 10, I will cue you to just relax your head and shoulders back to the floor rather than straining. I think we've got enough tension in our lives. What we're looking to do is create that stretch in the target area at your right glute. We're opening the right hip. Sometimes people will feel their hamstring up the back of the left leg as well. But we're not really stretching the shoulders and neck. We're just letting that area relax. So just settle in your time, have a play. Maybe just take at least one more breath after the one you're on. And then we'll switch to the other leg. No expectation for it to be the same, so just have a play. Right foot on the floor, left ankle over the right knee. And then just notice if you need to stay with the foot on the floor, or raise your right foot onto a prop, or lift your right leg up further and thread your right hand behind the right leg. And then just remembering you don't want to necessarily reach around the left knee. We're just kind of coming between the legs there, inside that figure 4, just it's a little more comfy. And then taking a few breaths. And our breath is a key part of every part of yoga, but when you're stretching, our exhales help us to relax our muscles. So just take one more breath. And then gradually release the leg, coming out and rolling to the side to come up to hands and knees. So take your time coming up. We're going to come into our pigeon stretch. So similar target area for pigeon. It is still the right glute to start with because we'll use our right leg. But again, if this starts to create discomfort in your knee, we don't want pain in the joints. So come back down to your back and do the figure 4 again. If you want to try pigeon, we can start on hands and knees today. Draw the right leg back behind you and then draw the right knee to the floor to the right of your right wrist. Inch your right leg. If it moves without force, you can slide your right foot across you a little bit, like on a diagonal, but don't yank it and force it. You might slide your left knee back if you find there's space to. And we want to keep the hips like they're turning forward. So there could be a gap here under your right leg, which if you've got quite a big gap, you can say put a block under there. See if it helps you feel a little more supported to stay. But you can also just let it hang if it's not incredibly uncomfortable. So then we're staying here. We're not really sitting on that right hip if possible because it won't give us as much stretch. So see if we can stay upright. The right knee is wide out to the right to also give us more glute stretch. And then we might start to lower down. And just take another 2 breaths, just as low or high as you need to go. You can always put your head to your hands or stack your fists into your forehead. And then we'll press back to the other side. So coming back to hands and knees. We'll take the left leg back behind and then draw that left knee just outside the left wrist. So to the left of the left wrist. Option for your left foot to slide diagonally in front of you, only if that's not something you're pulling and yanking at. Draw the right knee back if there's room in your body to slide back a little further. And then notice if you're ready to come down. And just settling in here for a couple of breaths. So I don't know about you, but some days that glute is so tight and it's so intense. So feel you don't have to go right into the full pushing and depth. If you want to come inch back a bit, let your breath slowly release you and relax you into it. And let the muscles of your belly, your eyes, your jaw soften. 2 more breaths. And then we'll gradually start to rise back up. Coming out onto the left hip, bring your feet around in front of you. We're just giving an example of a forward folding, a seated forward fold. So it could be legs straight, or there will be other versions where we open the knees in butterfly or we open the legs wider. But just for argument's sake, starting with this one, the legs straight out in front. So what happens sometimes is our hips are rolling really far back and then we kind of lean forward to fold, and we're going to feel maybe more of a sensation up here at the back or the shoulders. But in order to get a little bit more of the stretch all the way along the back of the body, from the back of the legs to the back of the spine, you might like to sit up on that edge of that cushion or blanket. So you are coming forward on it to help your hips tilt forward. So legs can be straight. If you find you need a little support under your knees even, you could either bend them a little bit or you could roll another little towel or blanket under there. You can even put one of your bolsters, so see what works. And then just let yourself slide forward and fold. With this one, again, if it was a shorter held stretch, we might flex those feet up and feel more sensation behind the legs. We would also feel a little bit like we're trying to elongate the spine whilst we're folding the shoulders, so we have a little bit of extra engagement and intention. If we're keeping it as a yin yoga stretch, we would be relaxing those feet and just letting everything hang down. And in yin yoga, you might like to use things like your bolsters, your blocks to support you in extra ways so you can really relax into it. So for some people, they might be able to place a bolster over their legs, maybe use a block or cushion under the head. You just have to experiment what works for you. So whatever version of this shape you're in today, just see if we can surrender here. And then start to come out from this shape, releasing your props. We're going to come into our final position, which is our restorative yoga shape. So with restorative yoga, as I mentioned, we're not aiming for a deep stretch. So we want to use all of these supports and props to get mega comfortable. The bolsters today, or if you're using pillows, I'm going to make a T shape with those. So at the back of your mat, you'll have a horizontal bolster, then down your mat, a vertical bolster. Your blanket might end up being useful as a headrest, like a little pillow, so we can adjust that once we get into it. You're popping your bum on the ground, but close, maybe even touching the bolster. And then your blocks could be used to support your knees. If you place your soles of feet together, open the knees. Even if your knees are a bit higher, you can actually prop these blocks under, or cushions, under your upper thighs. So you don't have to have it right out on the knees. You can have it inside under the thighs. Rest back. And as you lay back, ideally your arms are going to be on the ground so you get maximum comfort. Again, if you need to even get extra blankets and things to fold under your arms if they're not touching, do that so that you really create maximum comfort in your body. We would use things like eye pillows in restorative yoga to help us really tap down a bit deeper into it. And then just sort of take as long as you need to shuffle in. So today we won't hold as long as you normally would for restorative yoga, but we will give it a few minutes. And the idea is to actually find so much physical ease and comfort within our body that we're sending that signal up to the brain to say, this is our time to relax, to find ease, to slow down. So we are really coming a little bit deeper into that parasympathetic relaxation response. And it can take quite a while actually for our nervous system to sort of be able to land there more comfortably. And you might find your mind is really busy. And this is why we hold longer. And ideally doing a few of our restorative poses even in a row might help you to just observe how your mind actually could slow down potentially over time. But just with patience, no expectation. So as you are just softening your eyes or closing them, feel the back of your body completely supported by the bolster, by the floor. Feeling perhaps your cushions or blocks under your legs. Beginning to feel your bones grow heavier into all of this support behind you. And perhaps noticing as your abdomen begins to soften, as your breath flows, you can watch that ebb and flow, that rise and fall of your breath moving under your chest, or maybe even moving around your abdomen or torso somewhere. Just observe, where do you feel it? Noticing each time your mind takes you away from your body or away from your breath. Just being curious about that, not feeling there's anything wrong with it, acknowledging your humanness, and just arriving back, turning the attention back. And you can use your breath as that anchor point of presence, or you can use your body as that grounding sensation in the props, or you could use the sound of your space as well. Sound, body, or breath, just staying there. Bringing a little movement into your fingers and toes. Feeling a bit more vitality returning into your body, your system. Maybe some longer breaths or even an opportunity to reach your arms overhead if you do feel ready for it. And then you might slowly pop the hands outside the knees and help the knees in. Releasing your cushions or blocks, however you need, to the sides. Rolling onto one side and pressing up to seated ever so gently. Thanks for joining me on this beginner yoga series. I hope you've gained some new insights, confidence, motivation to really kick off your yoga journey. I would love to hear from you. If there's any one thing that really stood out to you that you got a lot of value from, do let me know. You can shoot me a comment or you can get in touch via info@yogawithverity.com.au. I'd also love to hear if you still have some burning questions, let me know. And if you didn't know, I have a whole massive library of videos on my website, yogawithverity.com.au. We also do live stream videos and regular special events. And all of my yoga is here to help support you in your pain, stress, and mental health. I'm super passionate about it. I love to talk to you. I love to hear from you. So if you have any questions on that or you want to head over to the website, just have a look first, please do. And yeah, I hope to see you on the mat very soon.